Hello and welcome to the most challenging chess opening of all time, the gangster chess opening. Brace yourself for the Russo Gambit, a formidable and unpredictable strategy that leaves no one safe on the chessboard. If you're not intimidated yet, let's dive right into it. The exciting thing about the Russo Gambit is that it deviates from the most common opening sequences, such as e4 or d4. Instead, it takes your opponents by surprise with the move f5, reminiscent of the Vienna Gambit or the King's Gambit, but with a reverse color twist. Playing this gambit can be a thrilling experience, as there are traps for your opponent at every turn. In today's video, I'll reveal my top 3 favorite opening traps within the Russo Gambit. These traps are strategically placed throughout the game, offering you opportunities to outsmart your opponent and gain a significant advantage. So buckle up and get ready to outwit your adversaries with these cunning traps. The Russo Gambit is a wild ride that will keep you on your toes from the very beginning. Let's explore the intricacies of this opening and unleash its full potential. The Russo Gambit unfolds from a common opening sequence, where white accepts the pawn sacrifice with pawn takes f5. This move may initially confuse your opponents, as your knight and queen exert control over critical squares on the board. Their confusion often leads them to retreat their knight back to g1, a suboptimal move. In a previous video, I discussed the straightforward line where black plays knight to f6, securing an advantage. However, today I want to introduce a more intricate variation that adds an extra layer of complexity for white. By playing pawn to d5, black launches a direct attack on white's bishop while opening up possibilities for black's own bishop to capture the pawn. This move, though seemingly advantageous for white, presents a challenge for black in the form of the nasty queen to h5 check. Keep in mind that your opponents may try to launch an attack with their pawn, but it usually lacks sufficient firepower to pose a real threat. By moving your king to safety, you neutralize their attack. White may respond with bishop to b3, seeking to hold onto the pawn. However, you gain tempos by relentlessly attacking the exposed queen. Moves like knight to f6 and pawn to h6 force the queen to retreat, eventually landing on g6. White hopes to create checkmate threats and maintain control over the pawn. Undeterred, you continue your assault. By playing knight to d4, you place white in a difficult position, as their pawn becomes vulnerable. With 2 attackers targeting it, capturing the pawn forces the queen to retreat to g3. This allows you to develop your pieces with ease, placing your king on f7 and bishop on d6, asserting your dominance. However, your opponent may stubbornly cling to the pawn, playing pawn to g4. At first glance, it may appear that you can no longer attack the pawn. But fear not, for you have a silent killer move up your sleeve. Bishop to d7 delivers a decisive blow, trapping the queen on g6. You could capture the queen immediately, but if you wish to preserve your knight, you can first trade it on b3 before playing bishop to e8. With the queen trapped, victory is within your grasp. This sequence demonstrates the power and cunning of the Russo Gambit, allowing you to seize control of the game. Prepare yourself for an exhilarating journey of tactics, sacrifices, and triumphs as you delve deeper into the Russo Gambit. In one of the most common variations of the Russo Gambit, the move pawn to f5 catches your opponents off guard. They may perceive it as a weak move and seek to punish you for your audacity. Little do they know that this move holds a remarkable secret, a promotion of the f5 pawn into a new queen that leads to a checkmate. Unbelievable, right? Let me guide you through the intricacies of this trap. The sequence begins with white playing pawn to d3 to defend the e4 pawn. Seizing the initiative, you boldly place your bishop on c5, assuming an active and forward position on the board. This provokes white to counterattack with knight to g5, aiming to exploit your early aggression with a potential bishop sacrifice on f7, or a fork on your queen and rook. However, you unveil your next move, pawn to f4, which not only defends the attacked knight, but also cuts off white's dark-squared bishop, preventing it from defending the knight on f4. Now, your queen swoops into action, attacking the knight on f4. White counters with knight to f7, launching an attack on your queen and rook simultaneously. Undeterred, you advance your queen to h4, establishing a checkmate threat on white's kingside. If your opponent is perceptive enough, they may attempt to defend against the looming checkmate. But fear not, for your attack intensifies. Your queen relentlessly presses forward, ready to infiltrate g2 to target the rook and the pawn on f2. With the support of your bishop, the attack becomes increasingly formidable. A common concern raised by viewers of my previous video on the Russo Gambit involved white playing pawn to g3, leaving them unsure about how to proceed with the attack. Fear not, for I shall shed light on this line as well. In response to pawn to g3, you boldly advance your queen, maintaining an aggressive posture and keeping the pressure on. From this position, your queen is poised to invade g2, attacking the rook and the f2 pawn. But wait, there's more. You unleash a key move, pawn to d5, sacrificing yet another pawn. The purpose behind this move is to gain a tempo and involve your bishop in the attack. Your next move, bishop to g4, strikes at the heart of white's position, attacking the queen. White may opt to move their queen, hoping to gain a tempo by attacking your bishop with pawn to f3. However, you refuse to retreat. Instead, you seize the opportunity to capture on g3 with your Russo pawn, which has been steadily advancing throughout the game. White's options are limited. If they recapture on g3, the rook on h1 falls due to the pin. Alternatively, if they make any other move, such as capturing your bishop on g4 with their pawn, you unleash the full force of your attack with pawn to g2. There is no escape for white's rook, which will be captured, and you shall promote a new queen. Even if white tries to place their rook on g1, it is captured immediately, unable to halt the progression of your pawn. White is left stunned, defeated in a spectacular fashion. Witness the demise of white's plans to attack the weak f7 pawn. In this exceptional scenario, your pawn on f7 transforms into a formidable force, completely turning the tide in your favor. The Russo Gambit displays its true power, leaving your opponent spellbound. Prepare to relish this triumph and bask in the glory of your victory. And here comes the third trap in the Russo Gambit. After you play pawn to f5, the appropriate move for white is pawn to d4, striking back in the center. Not many opponents will find this move, as it requires advanced knowledge. However, let's assume you're facing a stronger opponent. What should you do in this case? The correct move for black is pawn takes e4. This move comes with a level of risk, but it can lead to numerous victories, although losses may occur as well. After knight takes c5, it may seem good for white for a while since they are already targeting the weakness on f7. However, you play pawn to d5, attacking the bishop. The trap begins when white plays queen to h5, attacking your rook on h8. It appears very lucrative for white and almost winning, leading to a potential checkmate after queen takes f7. Many opponents will play this move, falling into the trap. Now, here's where the trap unfolds. You play the subtle move knight to f6, counterattacking the queen. White is forced to maintain the pin along the h-file and plays queen to h4. You continue with another strong move, knight takes d4. At this point, the position may appear complicated, but both players are equally confused. Let's analyze the situation. The material balance is equal, and while your rook is under attack, you are also launching multiple threats. You're threatening knight takes c2 check to the king, followed by winning the rook. Additionally, you're attacking the bishop on c4, overpowering white. White has two main options. One is to play bishop to b3, which looks like a smart move, defending both the bishop and the pawn on c2. Here, you execute a brilliant maneuver that secures the win. You start the unusual maneuver of your knight, moving it back from d4 to f5, initially targeting the queen again. You continue to shift the queen and push it off the h-file, allowing you to capture the knight without worrying about losing your rook. If white tries to keep the queen on the h-file, you play another unexpected move, moving your knight all the way back to e7. This move serves as a discover attack on the queen and allows you to capture the knight. The position may seem messy, but it leads to a winning advantage for you. If white captures the rook on h8, you're even happier. You capture the pawn on c2, delivering a check to the king and attacking the rook. You can then proceed to capture the bishop on b3, followed by capturing the rook on a1, leaving you with an extra piece and a winning position. If white plays king to d1, attacking your knight, you capture the bishop with check. After white recaptures the knight, you surprise them with a checkmate in one move, queen to d3, sealing the victory. This opening is highly tricky and can lead to many pitfalls for your opponents. A single inaccuracy can cost them the game. Keep in mind that playing tricky openings alone won't make you a strong player. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the other videos appearing on your screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.